Hey team, all right, we're going to do some, we're a little later in the day than I wanted, but my day turned upside down, so I was able to recover. Here we are. We're going to work on the martial power system some more today. We're going to work on Paladins. What we're looking at here on screen right now, this is a Paladin of Fury, also known as a Vengeance Paladin. But Fury is a vengeance spirit entity in the Ebron campaign setting. So I had one of my players run a 1 to 20 campaign with me a number of years back, and this was the character that they had built. So I made him a character. I'm going to check my signal here to make sure that we're coming through okay. Give me a minute to go through my intro. So if you're already familiar with the stream or catching this in the future, you can skip ahead a minute and I'll catch up with you on the other side. But right now I'm going to do a mic check here real quick to make sure I'm coming through okay. Sounds like I'm sounding a-okay. Cool. So let me grab up my link here. I'm going to do some quick social media posts because apparently I don't know how to do any of this stuff before I start the stream. I just do it at the start of my stream. So cheers. Cheers to all. Let's see, pressing buttons here real quick. Just to give you an intro about who I am, my name is Phil Kearney. What's up? I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online, and we are creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. That's going to be publishing on the DMsGuild. Today we're working on the martial power system, which is an alternate magic system that martial characters get to use, but spellcasters don't, that allow the marshals, the other half of the game, the grunt marshals, to have the same breadth of options and resources that full casters have, but using a completely different system than Magic that is inspired by the 4th edition martial powers and more so the 3rd edition Book of Nine Swords and Incarnate Magic. So if you know what those things are, then you should probably be pretty excited. This is we've been building and playtesting this for over a year now. We're currently rolling low-end characters at 3rd and 4th level. We just hit 4th level in the mega dungeon that I'm running off of my Discord channel. So if you think that stuff is cool, you are most welcome to jump along with us. Here's a slew of books that I've created that are currently on the DMsGuild. And let me switch my script here so that you can see down here. There's a bunch of books that I've already created. Hey, Steve. A bunch of books I've already created that you can see the illustrations to here. They all have free previews. Feel free to click through. Like, subscribe, bell icon for notification to keep live in the future. And in the spirit of full previews, if you want to read along in today's martial powers discussion, you can click on this Google Doc link here. It'll pop it open. For you, it'll be a read-only document, but the entire document is available for you. It is live in our playtesting right now. We've already ran playtesting from level 16 to 20 in my own homebrew campaign last year. A couple months back, we ran, I think it was in October, we ran a hex crawl campaign for 6th and 7th level characters for a couple months. And now we're running a mega dungeon off of my Discord channel. We're going to run, we started at level 3, we're 4th level right now, and we're going to roll through 10th level to see how all the 2024 updates that we're making to the document feed through. And in that spirit, we are going to drift down in the page past all of the power stuff and past all the feats, the barbarian, the fighter, the monk, and there's the monk, and then we're going to end with, we already did the ranger, but I wanted to circle back around to take care of the paladin. There's technically not a lot in the paladin that I need to change, but I want to give it another look-see with the stuff that's in the new Player's Handbook 25, just to make sure that I'm not missing any particular details. But so far, it's been running pretty great. So just to recap the flavor of this, I think maybe I have an hour of time today. It's later in the day than I normally would have, so I'm not sure I think I've got a dinner lined up later on tonight, so I want to make sure I've got time to prep for that. But in the meantime, the way the martial power system works is that it works on short rest, kind of like a monk. So the progression of spell points or mana progresses from 1 to 20, from level 1 to 20. Using half-casting progression, all the martial characters, barbarians, rogues, fighters, monks, they all use the half-casting progression, gaining new ranks of power at 1, 5, 9, 13, 17, like a half-caster should and would. Paladin, of course, being an exemplary participant of the half-casting as written. We have the number of powers that you can prepare. And we have the power die, which is like a martial arts die, bardic inspiration die, superiority die, kind of all rolled into one. I can still hear myself a little bit, so I want to drop the volume a little bit more to help try to eliminate that snudgery. That might not be any better, but let me go ahead and pull this open here. We're going to drop into D&D Beyond and go fishing for, I think I already have the Paladin queued up. Nope, I need to queue up the Paladin. So let's go to game rules and classes, clickety click, and then go down to 2024 Paladin. There we go. So just again, recapping the system here. There's 5 ranks, like ranks of power as opposed to levels of spells that half-casters get access to. It's a short rest mana recovery. So on a long rest or a short rest, you gain as much mana equal to the level of your character. Each class has different ways to cheat mana into their mana pool so that they can sustain themselves over the duration of a day, similar to how a full caster would. Full casters get all of their mana up front as a long rest that they can then Nova burst with high-level spells, however long their mana pool holds out. But the martial characters, theirs is in the spirit of martials can do stuff all day versus spellcasters can only do so many things, but they're heavy impact Nova things. To keep that same flavor, at first level, you wouldn't think that you'd have much mana to be able to throw around unless you're taking short rests, but there's the empowered actions where you exchange your action economy for mana to spend that turn. So if I don't move, like a sniper, for instance, or a vanguard that's holding their ground to tank for the back line, if you don't move, then you automatically generate a free point of mana that you can spend on anything that requires mana. And since you're first rank, first level, 1 point of mana is your cap. You can use your movement to basically like generate free spell points to like do a smite spell, for instance, since we're talking Paladin. The bonus action can be sacrificed. And depending on what your character level is, or rather the max rank of power that you've gained if you're multi-classing, determines how much temporary mana you can generate that way as well. So like at the beginning of my turn, I could cash my movement and cash my bonus action to generate 2 points of mana that I would then be able to spend on, like, say, as Bardic Inspiration to ramp my attack roll. And when I inevitably hit, because I ramped my damage up by I ramp my attack roll by an extra, say, D6 at first level, that becomes a D8 at 9th, becomes a D10 at 17. I'm going to ramp my attack roll, and on the high likely chance that I'm going to hit, then I can throw an extra die of damage in on top of that with, like, say, an extra D6 damage at first level. So I hit with my weapon attack, do all my stuff, and then I could toss in an extra D6 plus whatever kicker effects that we have with the type of smite that we would choose for a paladin. So we're going to go through some of that process today as well. So you're generating mana every round only in combat. There's that in combat language that we're seeing crop up more often in, like, say, the Unearthed Arcana, that we see how rangers can exchange their action economy during combat to gain perks, or like to be able to vanish and stuff like that. This empowered action system that we've been using follows that flavor, or rather, it's really cool to see how much Wizards is obviously watching my channel and taking inspiration, because virtually everything that's in the Unearthed Arcana are things that we could already do and duplicate with the power system. So I really like how the longer 2024 exists, the more this stuff that we've been working on for the past year actually gels with where D&D 5e is at and heading. So I'm going to break my arm patting myself on the back like that. and have a lot of confidence that we're actually on a really good train of thought for giving the marshals in 5e just as much punch as the full casters get. So kind of excited about that. We're going to delve into the subclasses of the Paladin, but before we do, just to visit the effects, you can either as a hybrid half caster, you can either, when you have your prepared powers, you can spend these on spells like usual, like a Paladin would. You can also select any of the mana abilities that you get as a caster. There's the 5 disciplines, which are exploits, which modify die rolls and action economy. There's maneuvers, which are like point-click effects to affect other people other than yourself as either a magic action or a bonus action. There's reactions, which are kind of self-explanatory. A lot of them are opportunity attacks, but there's a lot of like countering effects and stuff like that, like to interact with magic, for instance. There's strikes, which replace the Paladin smite concept to make it available to everyone. But don't worry, the Paladins are still the frickin' best at it. And then there are sustained powers, which are like personal buffs, like enchantment effects or like auras that you place onto that affect your character to increase it changes the way that they operate and can interact with the environment. And there's no concentration effects on any of these powers, though spellcasting still has concentration, and concentration conflicts with powers. So you can stack as many points of mana onto your character as you have ranks of power. So say a 9th level paladin can cast up to 3rd level spells, can channel up to 3 ranks of power. But if you're sustaining a 3rd rank power, you can't concentrate on any spells because all of your slots are full. If you're maintaining concentration on a 3rd level spell, you can't sustain any powers because all of your slots are full. But on top of that, you can have, say, 3 1st rank powers, or a 1st rank power and a 2nd rank power, or a 3rd rank power, as opposed to, like, say, a 3rd level spell. So the martial power system is designed to be calibrated so that you can stack these effects onto your character and it doesn't break the game. And you don't have to worry about concentration. So once you turn them on, they stay on until you are incapacitated, which could also be dropped to 0. But until you're incapacitated, these things stay on all day. They can still be dispelled, but this is a way for you to have a reliable buff effect, a self-buff effect on yourself that could be layered with your spellcasters dumping buffs onto you as well that they're sustaining concentration for, but you can't rely on that concentration to stick. So those are some of the core tenets of how this system works. And then further on top of that, the Paladin has further modifications. This list is already, the character scaffold here has already been updated with the 2024 options. So those are all in effect, and like Faithful Steed, for instance. I'm debating whether we create an option for all the subclasses to, like, instead of get a free casting of Faithful Steed, instead you get a free casting / channeling effect of blank. And we haven't sorted that out yet, but I think we're going to start working on that right now. So, but before we get there, again, spells, spell casting, the mana system that we use, which is in the spell point variant rules on the DMsGuild already, which you can see down here in the MTG system. This is color mana system, but also we also have a universal spell point system that you can click into and make use of with just the 8 schools of magic if you wish. But the easiest way to look at this is to go into the spell point sorcerers, which spell point warlock. It's pay what you want, but it's gold medal. God bless you guys for pushing a pay what you want book like this up into gold medal status. I am thrilled about that. But I'm sorry, that's the wrong book. Spell point warlocks. Here we go. Gold medal. See, there you go. Bless you. Opening up full preview. Drop down here. We have the old players. We have the old DMG method of calculating spell points if you want, but in my opinion, the universal spell point system that we've developed here is far superior. You can see here that it stacks. A level 1 spell is worth 1 point. A 5th level spell is worth 5. 9th level spell is worth 9. We made Wish a 10th level spell that you get at 19th level to push back. I run campaigns from level 1 to 20 in about 250 hours. And considering how fast I speak, it's probably not like 100, right? But still, we pushed Wish back to a 10th level spell so that you only have to worry about it at 19th and 20th levels, so you can keep the absurdity lid on your campaign just a little bit longer before the full casters just completely pop off. But even then, a 10th level spell slot like Wish costs 10 mana. So it's a 1-to-1 point ratio. It's much easier for you just to look at your character sheet and know how much spell power you actually have. My personal conspiracy theory is that they made the DMG 2014 spell points, they made it difficult on purpose, so that people wouldn't just ask, why aren't we just using spell points? They're so much more intuitive. I think they wanted to maintain the legacy of the spell slots in the game. They felt saddled and kind of like sandbagged with that, so they leaned into it. I think they made it dumb on purpose. And why do I think that? Because who in their right mind thinks that a 9th level spell is only 6.5 times more powerful than a 1st level spell? That's my first evidence that they really didn't take spell points seriously. But that's a conspiracy theory, and you can fight me over it down in my Discord channel. If you want to join me on Discord, you're most welcome to be there and haggle with me. I've been using this system for 7 years, and I've ran 3 campaigns from level 1 to 20 utilizing it. It works pretty good. So, yeah, try it out. Run your own level 1 to 20 campaign, and if you have any problems with it, ask me. I probably have a solution, which is why we're updating all the books for 2024, because I've been using the system for 7 years, and it's evolved. So we have an opportunity with the new 2024 rules to evolve them. Meanwhile, we're building this. Once this book is complete, all 13 classes in D&D will have the same resource mechanic of mana that can be at the core of how you run your characters, and the multi-classing on it is butter smooth. It's actually really, really good. So we'll get into that. We'll get into multi-classing another day. Yeah, right on. So thanks, Steve. I appreciate you being here, man. So the class features, right. So we have channeling figured out, right? So you spend your prepped powers on either learning spells, or rather preparing spells, preparing channeled powers that require mana, or this system allows you to prepare feats, fighting styles, weapon masteries, general feats, origin feats, and any feat that you prepare does not have a prerequisite, but you don't get the stat bonus. So there's that trade-off. So level 4, you can invest your feats into gaining stats if you actually want to gain stats with your character, or if you want to take half-casting feats, then or the half feats that give you a stat gain plus the kick stuff that you get for the feats. Awesome, your choice, but you don't have to if you don't want to mess around with mana. If you want a simple martial character like Wizards insists everyone wants, even though everyone's like, yeah, martials are like the Battle Master is awesome. Why isn't that just baked into it? Well, now you can choose. So for all the martial characters, you can either go the Battle Master route and pick a whole bunch of prepared powers that require you to expend mana in your action economy to generate that mana to do so, or you can just say, fuck that, I just want 4 or 5 or 23 feats, fighting styles, and weapon masteries to be able to so that I don't have to worry about mana at all. I'm just going to crack out tons of effects. Even if you decided to go that route and keep your character simple, we still have cool things for you to do with your mana. So channeling features, picking out your powers, spell casting with power we discussed. So one of the first variants that we have, which is Lay on Hands, which is you can channel divine power that rejuvenates yourself and your allies. You gain the pool of hit points, and you get 5 times your paladin level, which you can spend on hit points if you want to. But alternatively, you can spend 5 points of mana. Well, you can purge poison, which is a thing out of the player's handbook. But on top of that, you can restore mana. So you can expend hit points to restore mana. Every 5 hit points expended this way. Instead, the target you touch can recover 1 point of mana. Doing so does not also restore hit points. And you can expend a number of points. Any number of points that remains in the pool restored. That restore that many hit points. Let's see. You gain a pool of hit points equal to 5 times your paladin level, which is recovered when you finish a long rest. You can basically just dump all your hit points into, like, say, your wizard. At 5th level, your wizard throws a fireball. Well, you've got 25 hit points of healing. You could take 15 of them and give your caster those 3 points back so they can cast it again. Interestingly enough, one might ask, Phil, 5 hit points for a spell slot means that if I were to just cast Cure Light Wound or to Cure Wounds as a paladin and then give myself that point of mana, could I not then cast Cure Wounds again? And the answer is yes, you can. Here's the cool thing about that. While Lay on Hands did not get any enhancements in healing in the player's handbook, let me make sure I'm not going to be a liar about that. Let's go look at Lay on Hands real quick. Hold on. Lay on Hands. Let's see. You can, blessed with touch, healing wounds. You can heal wounds. You have a pool of healing hit points that replenishes when you finish a long rest. With that pool, you can restore a number of hit points equal to 5 times your paladin level. Okay, great. So that's I wasn't crazy. That's been remained. Okay, so here's the kicker. Let's real quick take a tangent, because that's what we do here. We take tangents. Let's go to Cure Wounds 2024. A creature you touch regains a number of hit points equal to 2d8 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. So assuming that we're using Charisma with an 18, well, at first, if you're using Standard Array, yeah, you could have an 18 at first level. So let's say 18. So it's 2d4 plus 2d8 plus 4 is going to probably equal 12 hit points, right? But in the old edition, it was d8 plus 4, which would probably be more like 8 hit points. So that means that Lay on Hands in the world of D&D 2024 just got cut in half. It's not worth as much healing anymore. So if you were to instead convert those 5 hit points into a spell slot, you're going to get 12 hit points back on average, which maintains the pace of the amount of, that's effectively the same amount that you should have gotten in 2024 for 5 mana, 5 healing from the paladin equals 1 mana would equal a d8 plus 4. So that would be 8 hit points compared to 5. Now, instead of it should technically be 10 if you're keeping up with the changes in healing in 2024. So those 5 hit points now heal 12 hit points instead of 8 hit points. So it's actually staying in scale with how the new rules and ideas about how much you should be able to heal with characters. You're also welcome to fight me over that if you want. Join my Discord to kick up the fire. And that's how Lay on Hands works for yourself or your others. You become a mana battery, which doesn't exist inside of the game other than mana crystals that we built for magic items and artificers. So this is a way that your paladin now gets to stand out even more. The Paladin Smite spell, now in 2024, the way that Paladin Smite work is if you hit somebody with a weapon, you then spend your bonus action to spend a spell slot, like say a first level spell, to hit with a Divine Smite. That Divine Smite does 2d8 radiant damage. So the way that this system works is that Paladin Smite, starting at 2nd level, when you hit with a melee weapon, the way that strikes work in this system is just like in 2014 Smite. Whenever you hit somebody, you can spend mana, deal extra damage. At the beginning, it's going to be less damage in general for everybody. It's only a d6, right? And I'm only spending 1 point at a time, so that's only 1d6, which is arguably a shitload worse than the 2d8 that the Paladin is supposed to get. Granted, this format, this d6 per point, like the fighter, the rogue, the barbarian, the ranger, the monk, they can all use that mechanic, and it sucks compared to what the Paladin can do. So here's how we trick the system. Let me finish my thought, and then that's my Holy Avenger, right on. Starting at 2nd level, when you hit with a melee weapon attack and choose to channel a strike power, again, which we talked about, like say spend 1 mana at 2nd level to deal an extra d6, you can use an empowered bonus action to expend the temporary mana gained. And again, empowered mana we get by expending. Where is it? We expend our bonus action to generate an additional point of mana, right? To expend the temporary mana gained to add additional power dice to the damage to the strike power, ignoring your max channel limit when you do so. So a second level paladin is limited to 1 point of mana. But by adding your empowered strikes to it and ignoring your mana cap, you can then get 2 points of mana. I need to reword that. You can use your bonus action to generate temporary mana. No, wait, wrong table. So this is allowing us to get 2 points of mana instead of 1 at first level that we can then spend on 2d6. But then let's take it another step further. I'm going to need to work on the language here, so I'm glad we're doing this. But in to summarize, the damage can be radiant instead of the type listed for the strike's power description. And when you use Paladin's Smite to damage a fiend or undead, you deal an extra power die of damage. So what I need to do is, this says when ignoring your max channel limit when you do so. That's actually bad language because that allows you to spend any amount of mana, which could be like 50d6, which is stupid. So what I need to do to gain extra power die, which can be added to your max channel limit, period. The max channel limit is simply that at first level you can channel 1 mana. So by adding the bonus mana from your empowered action plus the 1 point that you get here, bonus action gives you 1 mana. Your level gives you 1. That's a total of 2 mana. So that locks in. I knew there was something sketchy about that language, which is why we do this. So you guys get to watch it live because that's what we do. We create ideas, we develop them, we play test them, and then we edit them, and then we do the page layouts, then we do the artwork, and then we do the publish, and then you get to look at it. And if you decide that is cool, you buy it so I can do more of them so you can keep watching. Cheers. So that's how that system works. Now, you're still saying, Phil, that sucks. You're still only going to get 2d6 as opposed to the Paladin's supposed to get 2d8, right? Right. So let's take a walk down and visit ourselves here in the strike powers. How do we solve this? Well, our easy solution is let me get to it. Hold on. Where'd it go? Strike powers, right? First rank power strike. It's called Martial Strike. Your weapon damage increases by 1 power die. Your weapon damage increases by 1 power die. Your weapon increases by your weapon damage. Hold on. Increases by 1 power die per mana channeled. So if you hit with a weapon, you're going to deal what? 1d, like at first level, it'd be a d6, and then with the Paladin, it's 2d6, right? So what? Well, in addition, the power die rolled is 1 size larger than your current die up to a d12. So that means at first level, instead of a d6, you're using a d8. So now all of a sudden, we've hit with an attack, we've spent 1 point of mana out of our mana pool, and we've used our bonus action to deal 2d8 damage. That's radiant damage, or 3d8 damage if we hit an undead or a fiend. We created the same solution that's in the player's handbook without a cap on 5th rank, so we can take it all the way up to 8 mana, or if you're standing still with your movement, we could potentially add in up to 9 mana, which is a 9th level spell slot, to deal that same amount of damage at 17th level, when a sorcerer would be able to use with 2 levels. At 19th level, a sorcerer would have 9th level spell slots and the ability to smite with a 9th level spell slot. We can do that too. So this is duplicating that effect exactly. So what this means is that spellcasting with power, lay on hands, Paladin Smite, when you gain to pump, and then we need to add in the feature, all Paladins gain the Martial Strike power. All Paladins add the martial strike power to your list of prepared powers without this doesn't count against the total number of powers or spells you can prepare. There you go. So we've exactly duplicated the ability of the Divine Smite as per 2024, but we have a completely different way of getting there that allows any martial character to also spend mana on hit, because you only get one bonus action per turn in this way, and you have to spend it. If you want to, on Paladin Smite, you don't have your bonus action anymore, and you're doing the exact same damage. Otherwise, if I had 2 attacks as a Paladin, I could just bap, hit twice. Like at 5th level, I'd still be rolling D6. I could hit with both I could hit with both strikes. I could still spend 2 mana to deal strike damage. It just wouldn't be a Paladin Smite. It would just be a martial. It would just be a strike power. And there's a total of 21 different strike powers, I think. So like Caustic Strike, as a 1-point mana, your weapon can deal acid or necrotic damage and increases the damage by 1 power die per mana channeled. Like at 5th level, it would be 2. And as a martial strike, instead of dealing acid or necrotic damage, it would be radiant damage, dealing 3d8 or versus undead 4d8 damage, just again in scale at 5th level with how the Paladin would operate. This one's not so cool because it just automatically, at the beginning of the next turn, it must make a Constitution saving throw, and success equals no extra damage, and if it fails, it takes power dice of damage again, and the effect ends. So this double taps your target. If I did 3d8 caustic damage to that target, it's going to take that damage on the first hit, and then the following turn is going to take that damage again. If it's only 1 mana, it'll only be an extra d6 the next turn. If it's 5th level, then it would be, and I spend 2 mana, it would be an extra 2d6 damage the next round. That's actually pacing with damage output that we should anticipate seeing from the player's handbook. So we're really actually tapping in. Most impressive. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. I am rather proud of that. But this just goes to show there's more than one way to cook a character, right? Like, you don't have to just go with the way that Wizards produce things. There's perfectly viable playtest or homebrew or third-party content out there that can produce the same sort of curve of power that Wizards is introducing, but make it more broad-based so you can do more stuff. If I want to crack off a strike every time I hit a target, that's up to me. I'm still not outpacing what a like say 11th level, where a like a cantrip, I can automatically do 3d8 damage forever as a sorcerer, and I would have to invest in getting access to that same sort of cantrip with my own casting abilities as a paladin. So, or as like a fighter, for instance. I'm taking away from my martial bits to get access to that squirt of power, like True Strike, for instance. True Strike is a cantrip that gives you extra d6s as you gain levels. So this is duplicating that sort of cantrip effect as well, that you can just use repeatedly, because you can generate free mana to dump on damage if you want. So occasionally you're going to be able to do the kind of damage that you can do as a caster can do to single targets, but the caster still reigns supreme in AoE and control effects. So you still have two different lanes of how these characters interact with each other, and they're completely different but get similar results. So playing a martial feels different than being a caster does. So there's a really fun divide there. So anyway, let's get back into it. The Paladin Smite, we just covered that. And Channel Divinity. Here's another fun kicker. Channel Divinity, which is you can channel divine energy to cause different magical effects. We already know that you get the Divine Sense, and other Paladin features give you additional channel ability effect options in the subclasses. Each time you use Channel of Divinity, choose which effect to create, and you can use this feature twice. You regain one of its expended uses whenever you finish a short rest, and you recover all of them when you finish a long rest, which is how the PHB works. But we also added the kicker effect that you can expend 2 mana to regain a use of your Channel Divinity. So we were talking earlier, what if I don't want to mess around with any of this shit? Well, you can just take 23 feats or fighting styles, weapon masteries, etc. And now you have a mana pool of 20 points that you could regain use of your Channel Divinity. You can constantly use your Channel Divinity feature if that's how you want to play your Paladin. It's as good as we've looked at the balance at this in previous episodes. Just do a search for anywhere that says Martial Powers Paladin in my playlist streams, and you'll see us looking at breaking down the Paladin abilities versus spell slots. And it actually kind of works out that 2 mana is a really good sweet spot for what a Channel Divinity feature can do virtually at any level. So it actually pans out. If you want to fight me over it, join my Discord. So that's how the Channel Divinity feature works. So you can basically spam out Channel Divinity by spending your mana on that instead. And of course, you can blow all your lay on hands to get more mana that you can then feed into Channel Divinity if you want to. So far, it's working out with all the subclasses that are actually published. Hey, what's up? Hey, Mick. Wait, 5e24 introduces mana dice for Paladins? No, it doesn't. This is a different system that I've created. It's called Martial Powers. You are obviously new to the channel, so welcome to the mix. If you're interested in exploring this, the entire document is available for you to view. It's read, don't touch. And if you want to play this stuff and then get involved in the playtest, you can join my Discord channel, which is down here. Cheers. So kick back, relax, grab a drink, and we'll be doing this for a little while. I'm not sure when I'm going to stop today because I'm expecting a chime for a dinner date, but I don't think that's going to happen for another hour. But I want to make sure I'm staying on point. So I built just for those that are new and that are interested. I created a system on DMsGuild. It's called Color Mana Spell Points. I'm a big Magic the Gathering fiend. So when Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica came out in 2018, and they used the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica to create the 10 guilds of Ravnica, but they kept the Vancian spell slot system and they kept the 8 schools of magic, did not bother to try to create a color mana system or some way to express color inside of the game. So I took it upon myself and spent a year developing the system, play tested. I've ran multiple campaigns, 1 to 20. I run a 20 level campaign from level 1 to 20 in about 250 hours. I just finished another one last year with my homebrew team, and we've been using all these mechanics throughout that campaign, and it works great. I've ran other campaigns prior to that using the spell point system as well. So it works really well, and they're all free preview. So you can check out all of these books. If you're a Magic the Gathering guy and you like MTG plus D&D, it's crazy delicious. So try it out. The system works really well. It's very intuitive. And if you ever run into any problems, you can just jump on my Discord server, and I'm happy to walk you through anything. But we're rebuilding all of the books for 2024 so that we can integrate because all the new tech that they put into D&D 5e24 makes the mana system more intuitive. Ironically, it got better. So all the power spikes that you see from the spell slots now actually curve really nicely with how you can abuse mana inside of the game. So, but yeah, we're just going through the Paladin right now. So Channel Divinity, you can regain uses of that by spending mana. Aura of Protection. Again, these are all variant rules. Take what you want, leave the rest. But the Aura of Protection, one of the modifications that we made that I've always used, because having a +4 bonus to everybody's saving throws when you get the level 6, it kind of blows out the difficulty of making saving throws in combat. It's kind of a problem. So I offer the solution of 1 plus whatever maximum rank or like max spell level you can cast as a Paladin. So a 5th level Paladin, well, you don't get this until 6th. So you would have 5th level, you get 2nd level casting +1. So at 6th level, it would be a +3 bonus. By 17th level, it's a +6 bonus. But at 17th level, your Paladin probably has a 22 charisma. So at that point, it's literally 6 or a half dozen. It's the same thing. It's just we're providing a smoother curve to ramp your character's stats to coincide with actual saving throws. Because a lot of people consider the Aura of Protection kind of a cheat code against saving throws. Because if you're only having a DC 13 and you get like a +5 bonus against a DC 13, you're probably going to succeed. So it kind of takes away some of the difficulty. So recommendation, but if you don't like that, keep it. These are all variant rules. So now we're looking at Oaths of Power. Let's see. Let's get down into it. Those are the only modifications that we actually need to make to the class for the mana system and the martial power system in general to work seamlessly. So we've already done work on this previously. I just want to make sure all this stuff still jives because we've been doing playtesting, right? And so when we go through playtesting, we have an opportunity to see a lot of different kind of classes and subclasses play through. And we've had a number of people playing Paladins so far. So this is a good opportunity for us just to get another look at it to make sure that everything still feels intuitive. So, oh, hey, right on. That already makes sense. And I've only listened to you and skimmed the Google doc. Badass, man. Checking out all the books that I have in my links down below. Everything I do, any book that I publish on the DMs Guild is always 100% free preview. It is so unlikely that an indie creator like me is going to get any eyes at all. The idea of throwing up a paywall in front of it just to have you take a look at my ideas is fucking stupid. I get sale. I mean, I literally get sales every day, anywhere from maybe $1 or $2 up to $50, depending on what's going on. I would not say I'm the top content creator on the DMs Guild by a long shot, but I'm really happy that people look at my stuff and are still willing to buy it. Not because they have to, but because they actually read it through and like, yeah, I'm going to use that. Like, if you use my shit in your campaign, if you want to buy it, God bless you. If it's a waste of your time, then I don't want to waste your money. Fuck off, right? So it's just fair. And when I start doing Kickstarters, I'll have this entire library of work on DMs Guild that I've created. It's like, if you want to see if I have any kind of mechanical chops, here's 500 pages worth of content I've created before, and I do all my own art too. So I just love making books. It's so fun. So I play test all this stuff. I design stuff. The only thing I don't do is my own editing. I hire editors to go through and read over the material to make sure that I'm not crazy and that I'm looking at the mechanics correctly. And then once they give me the text back, you know, we do our exchange. A lot of times I just give people artwork. It's like, yeah, I'll make a book cover for you if you'll edit my book. And like, for a lot of these guys, that's a badass deal. For me, it's a badass deal. So it's like I build relationships because I can make art. So it's almost like a cheat code when you're working in the indie scene. So I can do everything except for my own edits. So cheers. Okay, great. So let's get into the Oaths of Power. So we have the Oath of Devotion, which we have here. Let's go down to Oath of Devotion. I don't necessarily need to go through all these things, but I want to take, like, one of the things I do want to take a look at is you get spells, right? So you get protection from evil and good. You get the Shield of Faith, Aid, Zone of Truth, Beacon of Hope, Dispel Magic, Freedom of Movement, Guardian of Faith, Commune, and Flame Strike. Classes like the like fighters, for instance, until now they didn't need bonus anything. Fuck off. So we give them 10 bonus powers to kind of match the power that scales for these casters that always get bonus spells on top of all the other spells that they get. So if you like some rangers get 0 spells, so we give you 10 powers. Some rangers get 5 spells, so we give you 5 powers. So everyone's getting 10 bonus something. And like the Eldritch Knight, you get all of your powers, but you also get like 10 bonus spells as you gain your new spell levels, so that you also get 10 powers, but they're specifically spells that you can manipulate using power. So, oh, thanks. Do you ever play anything in 4E's powers and exploits, etc.? Yeah, I played. Yeah, there's a ton of powers here. And honestly, 4E's got a lot of redundancy stuff. Most of what I decided to pull from was the 3rd edition Book of Nine Swords and Magic of Incarnum. If you were around for 3E, that's a nerd emblem for you to wear on your chest, because those books fucking kicked ass. So that's where most of my inspiration came from, because the first playtesting, the first homebrew I ever did with D&D at all, and I started back in 1987. Until they stopped making 3E, I never felt the need to play with homebrew. And as soon as they stopped making content for 3E, instead of switching gears to Pathfinder, I started messing around with homebrew design. And the first place I went to was Martial Powers, or the Book of Nine Swords, to start playing with the mana system, because I was a Magic the Gathering enthusiast. And back in my 20s and 30s, I didn't have the same mechanical chops that I have now. So I'm pushing 50 now, and I've spent a lot more time playing different systems, and I'm better now. So I finally figured out in 5e how to make a color mana system works, and I'm very pleased with it. So we don't technically need to give the Oath of Devotion any free powers, but if it had a smite spell on its list, all the smite spells are replaced with the strikes that we have in the game because of how the Paladin smite system works that we have built into here. So you get rid of the spells, and instead you use the strike powers. However, full casters, like a cleric that would get access to a Paladin smite spell, is stuck using the Paladin. And I say stuck because they suck in comparison to what our strikes do. But the cleric could still use like Searing Smite if that's on the cleric's list. They can still use that. That's their spell, but they also don't get the benefit from power because spellcasters get 0 ranks of power. They can't use powers unless they multi-class into it. And we have really clever multi-classing systems that we will spend time on another day to play with. But so the spells are fine. We already just established that when you all paladins add the martial strike power to the list of prepared powers, so you're always rolling d8s when you're using your paladin smite ability, so that you're keeping pace with the damage that the paladin smite is able to do in the player's handbook. So that's important to add that in. That wasn't there previously. Like I said, we're updating and we're finding flaws every time we go through the book. So every couple months, I do a stream like this and I go through the entire book and look for flaws on stuff and fix stuff and get to have conversations like that. And I'm more educated because I got a team of players that are running playtesting with me in a mega dungeon every Monday night. So we get to see how things work out and update it accordingly. So back on task. Don't mind me. Third level variant, Sacred Weapon. This is your Channel of Divinity feature again, which you have almost. You can have, if you want to, up to like 44 of these per day. Short rests, long rests. Eventually, you'll get 4 of them per day that way, and then you've got 40 mana, 20 off the cuff. And then if you burn all your lay on hands to generate additional mana that you selfishly keep for yourself, that's 40 mana. Sorry, it's 40 mana. It's 2 points a pop. That's an extra 20. So like 24 channel divinities per day if you don't want to cast any spells. Which, in some instances, that's a really great idea. So we're increasing we're really letting you lean into being a paladin because you have all these cool channel features that you can just spam the fuck out of if you want now. So Channel Divinity, looking at how the oath works. Sacred Weapon. When you take the attack action, you can expend 1 use of your Channel Divinity, which is effectively 2 points of mana, to imbue 1 melee weapon that you are holding with positive energy. For 10 minutes, or until you use this feature again, you add your channeling ability modifier to the attack rolls. And for a paladin, your channeling class, your channeling ability modifier is either I'm scanning for it real quick here. Channeling. But it's either strength, dexterity, or wisdom. Oh, that's not right. Sorry, that's supposed. I cut pasted that. That should be strength, wisdom, or charisma. There you go. So you can pick one of those 3 things to be your channeling. If you're going to lean into casting as a paladin, then you'll probably go with charisma. If you plan on multi-classing into a cleric with your paladin, which is a great idea, then you would want to probably go with wisdom as your top stat, so you can get that sweet spell adjustment for your cleric side. So back again, Channel Divinity, 10 minutes. You can add your channel ability modifier to attack rolls you make with that weapon, and you can choose to deal radiant damage automatically. The weapon also emits bright light. This is straight out of the player's handbook, except for the language that we had to modify for the channel ability. It's like, if it's the exact same power, I don't need to change. If it's the exact same feature, I don't need to change it. Right now, I'm not just cut and pasting it into the book. I am taking anything that needs to be modified, I'm adding to the book or to the playtest to modify. Once we actually get to the end of the book and actually publish, we'll probably add all that additional information back in. You can end this effect early, no action required. This effect also ends if you aren't carrying the weapon. So there's that. And let's see. Oh, what's up? Okay, cool. Let's see. And then we have, what's the next thing? Aura of Devotion. We might not need to do anything, so let's look at it. You and your allies have immunity to the charm condition while in the aura protection. If a charmed ally enters the aura, the condition has no effect on the ally while there. See, we don't need to modify anything about that. That's still perfectly fine. I don't modify that with the mana system. It's good to go. Smite of Protection. So we're going to modify it. Your smite now radiates protective energy. Whenever you sacrifice your bonus action to increase the damage of a strike power, which we described up here in Paladin Smite. Whenever you sacrifice your bonus action to increase the damage of a strike power, you and your allies have half cover while in your aura of protection. The aura has the benefit until the start of the next turn. That's no changes, except that I had to introduce the language about, like, instead of like whenever you use use Divine Smite, instead we had to introduce this language because using Divine Smite or Paladin Smite is literally using your bonus action. So there you go. And it is a little bit more liquid because it doesn't. Yeah. Anyway, you get it. So what's next after 15? Oh yeah, Holy Nimbus. Here we go. Holy Nimbus is, and again, we're just modifying, as a bonus action, you can imbue your aura of protection with holy power, granting the benefits below for 10 minutes or until you end them, no action required. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. You can also restore use by expending 5 mana, no action required. And again, in the player's handbook, it's spend a 5th level spell slot. We've been using this for over a year now. I am thrilled to see that Wizards agrees with me that you should be able to regain things by expending a spell slot. So where is it at? A level 5 spell slot, no action required. See? They agree with me. I'm thrilled how much 2024 agrees with the ideas that we have in this book. I'm just, they don't answer my phone calls. I'm okay with that. I love you guys. Magic the Gathering and D&D is fucking awesome. Wizards, you guys really need to swap out alignment for the color mana system, or for color magic. The 5 color magic philosophy, the 5 colors, it's so good for character depth, creating philosophies that aren't good or evil. It's just how your character views themselves and views the world around them. It's such a great system. And if you aren't familiar with what I'm talking about, Dice Try is the channel that you want to check out. How does that go? I think it's I don't know if I'm doing this the right way, but let's see. I think it works like at Dice Try. Is that how that works? Well, that would be his language up here, but Dice Try is, oh no, it's, I think it's, is it this? No, I spelled it wrong. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's not this one. Hold on. Remove. And it's not this one. Oh wait, it is that one. It's not this one. But yeah, he's got, I'm a patron supporter of his. I love his shit. And he welcomes me to be on his channel to talk about color mana anytime. So check out Dice Try. He is wicked good about color philosophy in fiction and in role-playing games. Amazing. Oh, thank you. Oh, no, I did that. Derp. Okay, so Oath of Glory. Yeah, so this all jives. Otherwise, the Paladin, it's literally fine. We didn't have to change anything else about the Paladin to make it work as intended. So that's one subclass down. Let's keep kicking. Oath of Glory. Next on the Barbie. Oath of Glory. Oath of Glory. Inspiring Smite. Okay, cool. So let's go down here and check this stuff out. When you use the Paladin Smite feature, you can expend a use of your Channel Divinity to distribute temporary hit points to creatures of your choice within 30 feet of yourself, which can include you. The total number of temporary hit points equals the damage dealt, divided among the chosen creatures however you like. When you use your Paladin Smite feature, so that can be a fuck ton of mana, a fuck ton of hit points, like Twilight Cleric level of temporary hit points once you start getting into the mid-level. That's fantastic. But again, we just had to change the language about the Paladin Smite feature. We had to switch that up. So easy peasy, cool ability. And then I'm guessing nothing else changes. Let's verify. Guiding Bolt. God, Guiding Bolt is so good. Heroism. I'm playing in Curse of Strahd, I'm playing a color mana sorcerer. That's Selesnya, a worshiper of Selûne, the goddess of the moon in Forgotten Realms. Selûne nature, white and green magic are the colors that just kind of naturally align with Selûne. So, and then as a Divine Soul sorcerer, I get access to the Cleric list. And so I picked up Guiding Bolt. So for 1 point of mana, I can crack off 46 damage. It's ridiculously powerful, but it's working great in my team. So, so the DM's happy with it. I'm really happy with it. It's working really well, and dumping meta magic on top of it using the spell point sorcerer system. We've gone from level 1 to we're now level 6. So far, the DM's been really happy with how it's been playing. Somebody who's never seen the color mana at his table before. He was willing to let me do it, and so far he's like, yeah, that's super cool. So I haven't had any kickback from somebody who's a complete stranger to the color mana system, witnessing it for the first time. And he's like, wait, so if I'm using a hard magic system, using spell casting, Guiding Bolt is a white mana spell. So I have to have white mana in my mana pool to cast it. I divide my pool up between white and green. So when I'm casting, if I have white mana, I can't really do anything else. That's like, I can't use any green spells. I can't get any blue spells. I can't get any red spells. I can't get any black spells unless I prepare the spell twice to change the color. So I can have any color, but it reduces the amount of spells that I have access to overall. So the DM's like, that's actually pretty balanced. Sure, you're going to deal a lot of damage, but you need to. It's fucking Curse of Strahd. So that's actually good news. And now you're self-nerfing yourself to have this very narrow window of things that you can do unless you want to nerf your own spell selection. So it's actually really well balanced. And I have a nasty concentration effect that I have to, the DC of my concentration is 10 plus the level of the spell. So if I get dinged with somebody from any saving throw, and I'm like, say, maintaining web as a second level spell, I have to roll it. Even my dexterity saving throw has to hit a 12 or better, or I lose that spell. So even though Guiding Bolt is a good pop of damage, anything else I try to do, I have to be really careful about how I'm spending my mana or where I'm positioned in the battlefield, so I don't just get dinged by some bullshit stuff that's going to blow my mana. So it actually works out really well. My 18th level druid in the last campaign that I ran, she was terrified to have anything higher than a 4th level spell being concentrated on, because she knew that if she wasn't careful about where she was positioned, every round she'd have to cast another spell again. It's just going to chew up her mana pool. So it's actually really fun. It's worth anyone trying, and to see how it completely changes the balance of how fragile full casters are, because they have to watch their mana supply. It's super fun if you like that level of complexity. And if you don't, just use the language of color and keep spell slots if you want, whatever, up to you. It's complete. Everything here is add or leave like a buffet. So haste, protection from evil, enlarge, magic weapon, compulsion. None of these spells, these are all good spells. I don't have to switch out any of these. So the spell list is good. Peerless Athlete equals bonus action, expended use of your Channel of Divinity feature, which we have in, wait, are we looking at? Yeah, Oath of Glory. To augment your athleticism. Or Glory of. Where do we get Inspiring Strike from? When you use the Paladin Smite feature, you expended use of your Channel of Divinity. Where did that, am I on the wrong, did I put that in the wrong thing? Hold on. Peerless Athlete. I'm confused. Where did I get that from? Nature's Wrath. Oath of the Ancient Spells. Elder Champion. Vow of Enemy. Huh. I'm really confused about where that came from. I like it. I thought I got, oh, was this the old Oath of Glory? Hold on. Are we looking at 2014 shit? Let's jump in here real quick and find out. And again, I don't know when I'm going to need to go. So I'm keeping an eye on the clock, but I also stream Saturday mornings and lunchtime. This next week I'll stream on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday lunchtimes, and then Thursday nights, Saturday mornings. But I think I'm going to be working on Bastion systems on Saturday and Thursday. So let's go to 2014. Yeah, I'm really confused. I don't know where I came up with this. I don't know where this came from. Let's research real quick. Oh, yeah. There it is. Inspiring Smite. Yeah, it came off of the Oath of Glory. So that was the old Oath of Glory. They got rid of it for 2024. Again, I haven't had anyone play an Oath of Glory, so I haven't had to look at it. Now that we're looking at it, let's go to 2024. I'm going to Legacy. Again, let's go down to what is true. I thought I was going crazy. I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? Of course, it's Legacy, because no one's played an Oath since 2014. So, no, wait. Glory. As a bonus action, you can spend one use of your Channel Divinity to augment your athleticism for 1 hour. You have advantage on strength saving and dexterity, acrobatics checks, and the distance of your long jump and high jump increases by 10 feet. Wow, what a bullshit ability. No wonder I kept Oath of Inspiring Smite in the game. Yuck. All right, let's go with... Yeah, I don't always disagree with Wizards, but when I do, I'm really mean about it. Fearless Athlete Unchanged. That's more like a ribbon feature than anything else. That should just be like something you just do permanently. Anyway, hey, what's up? Yeah, thank you. Right on, man. I appreciate you. Oh man, Theros, dude. I have plans for Theros and the gods. I have plans for that using mana, but we're not there yet. We'll get there eventually. We're going to get there. When you use the Paladin Smite feature, right, and we already have that set. Peerless, Unchanged, cool. Inspiring Smite, cool. What's next? Aura of Alacrity. In addition... whenever your speed increases by 10 feet, in addition, whenever an ally enters your aura protection for the first time on a turn or starts to turn, their ally's speed increases by 10 feet. Okay. Glorious Defense. Do we modify Glorious Defense? Inno, there you go. You can turn defense into a sudden strike. When another creature you can see within 10 feet of you is hit with an attack roll, you can use a reaction to gain a bonus to armor class against the attack, potentially causing it to miss. The bonus equal to your charisma modifier, minimum +1. If the attack misses, you can make one attack with a weapon against the attacker as part of the reaction if the attacker is within the weapon's range. You can use this feature. Does it say melee or is it just an attack? Attack, potentially, the bonus equals your charisma. If the attack misses, you can make one attack with a weapon against the attacker as part of the reaction if the attacker is within the weapon's range. Yeah, that's intended for ranged attacks. I love that. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest period. Okay, and then Living Legend. Living Legend. Advantage on charisma checks. Reaction to reroll. As you turn, you need an attack roll, the weapon, and miss. You can cause the attack to hit into Jesus Christ. So good. So, Living Legend, Charisma, you're blessed with the otherworldly presence. You have the advantage on charisma checks, saving throws. You can fail the roll, you can re-roll it. Once you on each of your turn, when you make an attack roll with a weapon and you miss, you can... Okay, great. But the language that changes is that you spend 5 mana instead of a spell slot, no action needed. That's the only change there. So, cool. This one, now, oops, I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to put an exclamation point next to it so I know that I've cleared it and that we're good to go. Devotion. Oath of Glory, good to go. On to the Oath of Ancients. Preserve life and light in the world. The Oath of the Ancients. Oh, I'm not going to read flavor text. Fuck off. Nature's Wrath. Do we have that? Nature's Wrath. Okay. Magic action. Expend use of your Channel Divinity feature. Channel choice within 15 feet of you. Succeed a strength saving throw. Restrained. As a maneuver. Oh, as a maneuver. Oh, that's cool. That's special language. Okay, as a unique maneuver. So that's a trigger word. So a maneuver is one type. Maneuvers are one of the disciplines of power. There's 5 types of powers. There's exploits, which modify actions and die rolls by expending. If you spend mana, you can modify your action or die roll as per ability. Maneuvers are actions and bonus actions that you can take. Reactions are triggered by various circumstances. Strikes are channeled upon when you hit with a weapon. And sustained powers are channeled as actions or bonus actions that can be sustained or locked. That can be sustained. That are channeled as actions and bonus actions to alter and enhance yourself. And then more specifically, a maneuver. Maneuver powers are instant effects that can be channeled as a magic action or bonus action or both, channeling the power twice in one turn. Many maneuvers affect targets with ongoing effects. You don't maintain concentration on these effects. Rather, they remain in effect until the circumstance until the circumstance each maneuver describes occurs. For example, many powers end at the beginning of your next turn, and others end when the target succeeds a saving throw against the effect. I also need to add in something that we've figured out since then. Let's see. Otherwise, all maneuvers end after 1 minute. There. So most of them end after, like, succeed a saving throw, or at the end of this next turn, or like at the beginning of your next turn. But otherwise, if they never fail their saving throw and it's an ongoing effect, it's going to end after 1 minute, which is generally the minimum concentration duration that you have to worry about something. So now that we've established that maneuver powers can be triggered as magic actions and bonus actions twice in the same turn if you want to, it's going to eat up your action economy, but you can do it. Nature's Wrath, as a unique maneuver, you can expend one use of your Channel Divinity, which is 2 mana to use, so it's effectively a second level spell, because second level spells require 2 mana. So effectively a second level spell, Channel Divinity can conjure spectral vines around a nearby target. Each creature of your choice that you can see within 15 feet of yourself must succeed on a strength saving throw or have the restrained condition for 1 minute. A restrained creature repeats the save at the end of each of its turn, ending the effect on itself on a success. Let's go look at the Entangled spell real quick. Grasping plant, sprout for 20-foot area. Each creature other than you in the area that you can cast the spell has a success strength saving throw and has the restrained condition, and it can attempt to take the action to make a strength athletics check against your spell save DC. On a success, it is freed itself from the grasping vines and is no longer restrained by them. So, and that's a first level spell. So what we're doing instead is we're giving you a second level spell as a paladin that you can use twice per turn if you want to hit creatures within 15 feet instead of 20 feet. So it's going to be more expensive. You can use it more often. It has the same triggering and ending conditions basically as what the Entangle spell does. So that's balanced. Let's see. What is our 7th level feature? What are we doing? Ensnaring Strike. It has Ensnaring Strike. So let's go look at our Oath spells. There we go. Little variant. Oath of the Ancients. Spells. Variants. What else? Let's see. There's Ensnaring Strike, and is that it? Yeah, that's all I have to worry about. There. At 3rd level, instead of... Pardon me. font. It's a bitch. At 3rd level, instead of gaining Ensnaring Strike, that is a spell that has been replaced with. Let's see. Hold on. Let's make sure. Let's make sure I'm not crazy. I might be eating some crow here in a second. Hold on. There it is. Restraining Strike. Your damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned. The creature is restrained by magical tethers. The creature can end the effect by succeeding a strength saving throw at the end of its turn. Size large or larger creatures roll with advantage. And again, I can do this every time I hit, as opposed to the Ensnaring Strike spell, Ranger spell, hit, spend your bonus action, do the ensnare thing, and then it gets out of your next round. Fuck you. So this is going to, it's still 1 mana to pop it. It's going to, it does an extra d6 of damage on top of whatever you would normally do. You can ramp that. If I wanted to make Ensnaring Strike my Divine Smite spell, or my Paladin Smite, my Paladin Smite spell, I could, hold on. Let me double check that language real quick. Oh no, that's not right. The Divine Smite is specifically for, yeah, that's right. It's specifically to do radiant damage. Wait on, hold on. Starting at 2nd level, when you hit with a melee weapon attack and choose to channel, choose to channel a strike power, any strike power, and you use your bonus action. The default is that you get the martial strike, so you're using the d8s instead of d6s. But if you use Ensnaring Strike, I could use that with my Paladin Smite feature to use my bonus action to give me an extra point. I would do 2d6 points of damage because the Grappling Strike is going to use my Paladin's martial power die, which at 1st, or rather 3rd level when I gained the subclass, is still a d6. It'll become a d8 at 9th and a d10 at 17th level. And since it's a strike power that I'm channeling with the Restraining Strike at, say, 3rd level when I get this, 1 point for spending the Restraining Strike. I get an extra point for free for my bonus action that I expend. I'm now spending 2d6 damage, and I'm ensnaring my target that can get out with a saving throw. Let's take a second here and look at Ensnaring Strike. Let's see how it balances. I'm actually, it's been a while since I've looked at this, so let's see how we balance. As you hit the target, Vines grapple, failed save, shrivels away. While restrained, target takes d6 piercing damage at the start of each of their turn. So we didn't have that. This requires concentration. Our strike spell doesn't, but it still lasts the same duration. 1 minute. It still lasts the same duration. So instead of dealing damage every turn and requiring concentration, it requires no concentration, does 2d6 damage up front and restrains the target. So you're freeing yourself up for concentration. It hits one, they stay restrained, but there's no ongoing damage. It's different. And there you go. It's just different. So cheers. But overall, I'm still pretty happy with it. Yep. And hold on. Is there language about size of creature in here, or is it any size creature? Oh, yeah. A larger size creature has advantage on the save. Okay, cool. That all balances out. Yeah. Different, but ours is more flexible because you could do it for free if you wanted to. Well, this is always going to cost you mana, and it's going to eat your bonus action on top of it. So you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You could just spend 1 point of mana to deal d6 and restrain the target. You could ramp it up as much as you want. And again, with the action economy that we have, with the empowered actions, we can exchange. If we wanted to stay still, we get a free point of mana to spend. If we blow our bonus action, we get free mana depending on our character level, or our max rank of power, rather, or our martial level. And then we can also exchange attacks. So if I was planning on using my bonus action for a maneuver, say 5th level, I could take the attack action and then forego both of my attacks to generate 2 points of mana to have those 2 points of mana that I could then spend as a bonus action to channel a maneuver if I wanted to instead. So different, but it compensates for the fact that we're working on short rest. I would otherwise never be able to keep up with a full caster on my short mana supply if I didn't have the ability to exchange my action economy for what we're doing. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Same but different. Let's see, where are we at? Yeah. Okay, great. At third level, instead of gaining Ensnaring Strike, the Ensnaring Strike spell, gaining the Restraining Strike power. Great. Hey, Tex, what's up? In your opinion, in D&D, would you say that damage over time, but less up front, or more damage up front and no damage over time, more useful to a balanced party? If we're talking about, that's a gear. That's an issue of gears. See, with this Ensnaring Strike, for instance, if the creature breaks out immediately after it got snared for one round, you're only doing 1d6 damage, and there is no residual damage. So in this instance, having the damage up front is better. However, a good difference between marshals and full casters is marshals are more focused on single target, although you could have abilities that allow you to hit multiple targets. But focusing on single attack equals damage and then having all the damage up front is a really great way to distinguish a difference between marshals and casters, where casters have concentration effects that deal ongoing damage while they maintain concentration. We're trying to build martial characters here so they don't have to maintain concentration, and most of their stuff is instant, like oriented towards instant effects, so that they're in the moment, they're spontaneous, they're adapting to the battlefield, while full casters are using their spell widgets and their incantations and their hand frufles, and are having to focus on what it is that they're doing to sustain this effect that really fucking sucks if you get hit by it, and keeps sucking while they can keep it on you. So by taking away a lot of the ongoing damage effects that you might see in the game in this martial power system, it separates the two. So I would say they're both good. It's just a matter of what kind of a flavor do you want to create for the character that you're designing. So if you have a Gish character, like say using this system, you would then have a mix of both. I can spend my spell points on concentration spell effects that are going to hit and continue to do damage, or I can spend my mana on pop effects that are going to hit but don't have residual damage effects for the most part. So it's just a matter of gear. Neither one is better than the other. It's just a matter of how likely is it going to be that your target is going to get out of that ongoing effect that's supposed to be dealing damage. And if the target isn't going to get stuck in that effect for a long time, was it worth the points you had to spend to cast the spell or not? And that's really going to depend on the kind of creatures that your DM throws at you. If you're trying to cast Entanglement or Entangling Strike on a giant with a 24 strength, don't bother, because it's only going to take one. It's only going to take a d6 of damage, and it's going to pop free of those vines its next turn, unless for some reason you're just trying to get away for a round. Otherwise, being able to hit it, you probably don't want to use Entangle on a giant. You're going to want to try to do something that targets their wisdom or their intelligence, and there might not be an ongoing effect that would cause that. So it's really an issue of like, who are you coming up against, and where's the benefits? So if you're looking at dealing damage against that giant, using a Restraining Strike instead of an Ensnaring Strike makes a lot of sense. Hey, how about that? Let me I gotta do a gut check here real quick. Cool. Yeah, good question. Good question. It's a great debate. I'm willing to dive deeper into that. If you wanted to hit me on my Discord and bring it up as a question, I'm sure it would stir an interesting debate amongst the other optimizers that are hanging up there. Let's see. Oath of the Ancient Spell variant. There you go. At their level, blah. Otherwise, you gain the other spells as listed in PHP. There. That's horrible language, but it takes care of the playtest for now, right? It's a work in progress. We'll hire an editor. Undying Sentinel. Wait, we need to look at 7. Aura of Warding. Ancient magic lies so heavily upon you that it forms an eldritch ward, blunting energy from beyond the material plane. You and your allies have resistance to necrotic, psychic, and radiant damage while in your aura of protection. No need to change that. That's awesome, by the way. I love it. Undying Sentinel. Did we change it? Yes, we did. When you are reduced to 0 hit points and not killed outright, you can drop 1 hit point. You can drop to 1 hit point instead, and you regain a number of hit points equal to 3 times your paladin level. Okay. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Additionally, you can't be aged magically, and you see. Additionally, you can't be aged magically, and you cease visible aging. But we put it in as until you finish a long rest, or by expending 3 mana. No action required. I often, throughout this book, allow you to refresh abilities by spending an appropriate amount of mana. And by appropriate, I generally mean, what level did you gain access to this thing? That's probably around the amount of mana that you should have. Let's see. Damage resistance, level 15. Is that accurate? This is for you. Okay, so you get access to 4th level spells at 13, and we have a resistance effect that would give you resistance to. Wait, am I looking at the right thing? No, wait. Where am I? Oath of Ancients. That was 7th. Oh no, that's the Aura of Warding. Right. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Material plane. Yeah. Then that's totally cool. It's the Undying thing. Okay, there you go. You gain a number of hit points equal to 3 times your paladin level. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again. Right. So it gives you hit points back. 3 times your paladin level. You get it at 15th level. So that's gonna. Holy shit! That's a lot of fucking hit points. Equal to 3 times your paladin level. That's 45 hit points. Yeah, only having access to once. I should not allow that in for 3 mana. I should actually restrict that to just once, because that is a ton of mana. So I'm going to actually recant that and peel that back. I can be wrong, and I don't mind because I fix it. Let's see. Similarly, in all my books down below, you'll see if you go, you'll see that there are new versions of virtually all of my books, because as people debate me and they convince me that something needs to be changed, if they give me a compelling argument, I will change it, and I do so. So my works are all living documents that are always under a work of progress, that I am happy if someone can break my chops and show me a better path to build something. I am often able to correct it. And this is an instance of me self-regulating myself. That's ridiculous. A number of hit points, and you regain a number of hit points. Right. Yeah, I'll go with that. 20, Elder Champion. As a bonus action, you can view your aura protection with primal power, granting the benefit below for 1 minute or until you end them. No action required. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, or you use 5 mana. Diminished Defiance. Enemies in the aura have disadvantage when you force them to make a saving throw, which is awesome. Regeneration. At the start of each of your turns, you regain 10 hit points. Okay. Whenever you cast a spell that has a casting time of an action, you can cast it as a bonus action instead, which I am perfectly fine with. That's super cool. And spells, yeah, because spells, there you go. Maneuvers and stuff. There's nothing requires an action in this game, in this system, other than class features and, if you wish, a maneuver. Otherwise, it's bonus actions or free actions or part of attacks. So that takes care of the Oath of the Ancients. I'm glad we go through these things like that, because that was broken. I'm glad I fixed that. Okay. Oh, God. Oath of Vengeance doesn't seem to have much to say here. Let's go take a gander at it. Spells. Hunter's Mark. Hunter's Mark stays in place. That's fine. The Ranger has something that's better than Hunter's Mark. We call it Mark of Prey. Doesn't require concentration, and it has scaling effects. At first level, you gain it, and then at 5th level, 9th level, 13th level, 17th level, 20th level, it does different things. It keeps getting better as you scale up levels. However, anyone else that's not a Ranger gets stuck with Hunter's Mark. Hold Person, Misty Step, Haste, Protection from Energy, Banishment, Dimension Door, Hold Monsters, Scrying. Those are all good. Don't have to worry about those. Vow of Enmity. When you take the attack action, you can spend the use of your channeled divinity, which is worth 2 mana, to utter a vow of enmity against a target. You can see 30 feet. You have advantage to attack against that creature for 1 minute or until you use this feature again. If the creature drops to 0 hit points before the vow ends, you can transfer the vow to a different creature within 30 feet of yourself. No action required. Lasts for a minute. Yeah, I'm good with that. For 2 mana, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I'm cool with that. Relentless Avenger, your supernatural focus helps you close off a foe's retreat. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, you can reduce the creature's speed to 0 until the start of the next turn, until the end of the current turn. You can then move up to half your speed as part of the same reaction. The movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. I don't think there's a reason to change that. Nope. Hey, what's up? Would you consider that an ability? Would you consider that an ability like that should be more expensive instead of only once per long rest? I don't know, man. Once per long rest is pretty harsh. It's a lot of heal. Like that ability, 45 points of healing. That's a very robust spell. That's you get what, 10d8. A 9th level spell slot gives you 10d8 plus charisma and healing if you cast Cure Wounds. That's effectively a 9th level spell that you're getting there at level 15. And it continues to ramp as you gain levels. It'll get up to 60 hit points, right, at 20th level. That's a really strong ability. Restricting it to once per long rest, I'm fine with that. I would also be fine if you were to take this mana system that I'm running with and make it cost 9 mana. I would be fine with that too, but generally speaking, Paladins can't spend 9 mana in one go. I would have to break the rules of mana of max channel limits for me to give you that. But it would be worth 9 spell levels to do that, because a 9th level spell can do that. However, having said that, characters using spell slots only get 1 9th level spell per day. So when you think about it, it's either 6 or a half dozen. It's the same thing. So in this case, I would say maybe. It depends on what it is. Something like that once per day is actually appropriate if you convert it to spells. It's hitting as a 9th level spell. So once per long rest is appropriate because you can only cast 1 9th level spell per day. So that works out. Even if you were using mana, you would be casting 1 spell per day at 9th level. Let's see. Relentless Avenger, your supernatural focus, okay, that one's fine. Soul of Vengeance, immediately after a creature under the effect of your vow of enmity, vow creature within 30 feet of you has disadvantage. You have advantage on attack rolls against that creature. So, and in addition to being attack of opportunity, and the effects of your vow of enmity hits or misses with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to make a melee attack against that creature if it's within immediately after a creature under a vow of enmity hits or misses with an attack roll. You can use your reaction to make it. Oh yeah, okay, so yeah, no, that's great. There's no reason, but there's no alteration, so I'm happy with that. And then Avenging Angel, and then I'll see you. Avenging Angel, 20 as bonus action, typical mana stuff, 5 points, flight. You sprout wings and fly. Congrats, you can hover. Frightful Aura. Whenever an enemy starts its turn in your aura of protection, which is 30 feet at this point, that creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or have the frightened condition for 1 minute or until it takes any damage, attack rolls. Ooh, wow, interesting. Whenever an enemy starts its turn in the aura of protection, the creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or have the frightened condition for 1 minute or until it takes any damage. Attack rolls against the frightened creature have advantage. Huh. That's an interesting dynamic. I like that. I bet that's from the book, right? Yeah, and takes any damage. Okay, so technically Oath of Vengeance is it's good to go as written. And that caps the oaths. Right now I've only looked at the oaths of power in wait a second. Do I have these? Ranger. Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't done any of the Forsaken Paladin subclasses. I think we're gonna skip that. And how long have I been at this? I think I'm at an hour and a half. It feels like this is about time that I should be done. I need to take a shower for my dinner date later on tonight. So what's up? Very fair. Hadn't considered. Yeah, I consider almost, since I converted over to the spell point system, I look at almost everything from how much would this cost if it was a spell. What level am I getting this if I was a full caster? Is this corresponding to the kind of stuff that I would be able to cast with, like, say, at 11th level, 6th level spell, or at 13th level, 7th level spell? What's the scale that we're looking at what this thing can do in comparison to being able to cast a spell of an equivalent level? And that's a pretty good way for you to get a kind of assess, like, is this actually balanced or isn't it? So, fun stuff. Great question. But yeah, I've had a lot of debates, and most of my design principles come off of that simple idea of if a full caster could spend a spell slot of their maximum level at that level, would it be broken? And if the answer is yes, then that power or feature or whatever it is it's too much. It's broken. And if it's below that power curve, then it's going to pretty much automatically be okay to use. Like almost indelibly, if it's below what a full caster of the same level could do with a spell, you're good. You're normally going to be pretty good. So that's like a really great, easy benchmark to look at virtually anything inside of the game. It just, because 5e is caster centric. It always caters to full casters and what kind of power curve do they have with their spell slots. So if what you're doing is matching up with what spell slots could do for a full caster of the same level, just to reiterate it one more time, Mojo Jojo, you're good to go. Oh, that rhymes, so it has to be true. Nice. Hey, great. Hey, we just finished the Paladin in 90 minutes. Not bad. Later, okay, so what's going to happen when we build out this book? We're going to keep only, when we build out the Martial Powers core book and we actually publish it, it's only going to have the 4 subclasses that are in the player's handbook. And then we start making splat books. Like we already have, we already did the Echo Knight. And I think I don't think it's on my Patreon yet, but I'm going to be putting it on my Patreon. Like Echo Knight is technically not Wizards of the Coast. It's Critical Role. So you kind of I'm kind of sketchy about doing anything with that in DMsGuild content. But as a fanboy, I can put it on my Patreon for free. So we built out the Echo Knight as a power character using the principles of mana systems with a martial power fighter, using their mana to create the Echo Knight effects. So fun stuff. Like the Echo Knights, I think it's a sustained effect that once you like spend a point of mana, you can just have your Echo Knight forever, and then you can spend more mana to gain more echoes at higher levels. Fun. But yeah, that's it for today. I am. Oh wait, by that logic, would you consider a system like this to balance martials and the rest of the casters? That's generally how I came up with most of the power curve inside of this mana system. Like what would a full caster be able to do in comparison, and also as a benchmark, what can the actual class actually do? And since we're introducing these mana ideas, I'm leaning more towards what can full casters do, and how can we bend the mechanics of what full casters can do to fit inside of the rules that we've established for how Martial Powers works. So it's not like nothing requires concentration in this thing. So generally, if it's supposed to be a concentration effect in as a spell, generally we're going to curb what it can do. And a lot of times just not being able to give it, like haste, for instance, is something that you can give to multiple people. But when it goes away, they're basically stunned because I didn't have to haste myself. I hasted somebody else. So when it goes away, they get stunned as a result of me doing it to them. But I could have it on multiple people. But the celerity power that we have in here is literally haste that you can only put on yourself. It still costs a 3rd level spell slot or 3 mana, but you don't have the hangover when it goes away. because the martial power system has it you turn on and you leave it on, which is a real, like, celerity becomes like a really good effect. But to counter that, a wizard has a huge budget. You can crack out a bunch of hastes and dump them on other people. So I think haste still allows you to target multiple characters with higher level spell slots. Let's verify if that's true. Haste. Let's see if I'm about to eat crow. Choose a willing creature that you can see within range until the spell ends. The target's speed is double, blah, blah, blah. When the spell ends, it has lethargy. Oh, it doesn't have an upcast anymore. Okay, well, I mean, I guess I'll eat crow there. Our celerity is a little bit stronger than haste is, but it also you can't have any kind of buff effects. Like a wizard could have mage armor or bark skin, dark vision, all sorts of different like last 8 hours effects on you while also maintaining concentration on haste. While our martial character at 9th level would only be able to have the haste effect on themselves. So like all these like little spell point things that casters can do to ramp themselves up over time and then dump a concentration effect on top of them, I think in this case is balanced. I think that was, if I recall correctly, that was the mentality that we had. At 9th level, when you get access, the wizard's going to get this at 5th level because of full caster. We're not getting it until 9th level as a half caster. That's where the balance point was inside of that equation. So that's when I was saying like balance it between like what could a half caster do versus a full caster. And as long as you're inside of that space somewhere, you're probably going to be okay. So like haste effectively, according to this, if it was a concentration effect, I should be able to give it to my 5th level character because my 5th level character as a full caster would have access to that. So there's kind of some caveat language in there, right? I'm breaking my own rule while using it. But the difference between a 5th level, a 9th level character as a half caster is I have access to 3rd level. As a full caster, I have access to 5th level. So would say a 4th level spell slot be sufficient that you can only cast it on yourself and not give yourself the stun hangover? Probably. As a 5th level spell, definitely. The 3rd level spell lets you hit other people, but they're going to get stunned as a hangover. By making it a 5th level spell at 9th level, then not having that hangover would be reasonable. So that's where that celerity effect comes in. See, you can, if you look at the ideas and take that argument and that thought process, who gets it? What kind of power would they normally have access to? What could the full caster have? And is there a gray area in between those two things that doesn't make haste better than what the full caster could do at 9th level? Is this reasonable? And a non-hangover haste that you don't have to concentrate on for a martial character that wouldn't be able to do literally anything else with like concentration effects, yeah, that's fairly balanced. So there you go. Hopefully that's a little deeper down the decision tree on is this a good ability or not. But after you like look at the different angles, you can kind of suss out, is that fair or not? And 2024 made fair a lot more generous. So in 2014, that might be debatable. In 2024, where you're slinging around so much more power with characters in general, especially the spellcasters, it's very fair. So anyway, there you go. So, but yeah, I mean, if you have specific ideas that you're thinking about for like your own game design and homebrew, you're more than welcome to drop down into my Discord channel and throw out ideas there. And either myself or one of the other people that hang out there will probably have some thoughts about it, or like look at different ideas on how to look at it. So, but yeah, that's it for now. I'm going to be back tomorrow morning. It'll be in 15 hours from now. I'll be back online. We're going to continue working on the Bastion campaign supplement that I'm building to dive deeper into games built around your characters having a Bastion as the primary focus of your campaigns, and to rebuild the Bastion system to be ability checks and skill tests instead of just something that automatically happens. So to increase the engagement that your characters have and to gamify the Bastions inside your game, kind of harking back to the Dominion style of play from Beck Me and first edition games. So right on, man. Nice. Nice. Thanks a lot for hanging out, Steve. I really appreciate you, man. Broadway, dude, I'd love to see you anytime. I feel like you've been around before. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I appreciate you swinging by and hitting me with these great questions. Thank you. Every time someone asks me a question, I basically get to shit test myself to make sure that I'm always staying true to what's true. And if I find that there's a flaw, I have to reconsider it. So I appreciate it a lot. It's what I need to do to be a good tester. It's what I need to do to be a good designer. So yeah, I'll be back in 15 hours, guys. I'll see some of you guys. Like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. See you on the other side. Cheers.